Hello and welcome back to Oversteer Auto Reviews. Here I have the brand new 2020 Honda Accord EXL, finished here in platinum white metallic. Let's break this car down and complete a review. Moving on to the front of the vehicle, you can really see that Honda put their design team to work. The most important refresh of this whole car are these headlights. These are LED running lights with non-functional fog lights, and in the center we have a flat black grille which has a hexagonal pattern here, and this hides the intercooler for the turbo and the radiator to cool the engine. Up front it's really understated and gives the executive look that this car stands for. Underneath the hood you will find the turbocharged 1.5 liter inline 4-cylinder VTEC engine. This engine produces quite nice numbers of 192 horsepower and 192 foot-pounds of torque. Those numbers, with the help of the CVT automatic transmission and front-wheel drive drivetrain, will get you to 60 in just 7.6 seconds. That is quite impressive from a 1.5 liter engine. Moving on to the wheels, you can see the quite nice looking bi-spoke 17 by 7.5 inch alloy wheels found all around. These wheels hide the 12-inch drum brakes found on all 4 tires as well. Moving on to the side of the Accord, I wanted to point out the most prominent part, which is probably this gray pinstripe. It runs from the front fender all the way through the rear fender. Another piece of the side is this really large chrome, which runs from the A-pillar through the C-pillar, and another design that mimics that is on the front door to the rear door. This vehicle is optioned with keyless entry, so I slide in my hand like that. One thing to point out is that these doors are almost effortless to close. It's closed. And now you have 3 lines on the door, which you could be boring and just tap to lock, but I prefer a nice swipe. One thing to point out about the side of the vehicle is also these two-tone mirror caps, which are finished in the metallic white and matte black. One other interesting about the side is the quite useless roadside assistance number and the fact that this vehicle is traceable by law enforcement. On the top of the vehicle you will also find the sunroof and quite large antenna fin. Moving on to the rear of the vehicle, you can see the quite nice refreshed look of the 2020 Accord. It's relatively simple back here, but it does flow with the overall design of the Accord. We have a Honda logo and Accord badge over there. On the rear you can also find the fully redesigned taillights, which are LEDs. In my opinion, they do mimic the brand new Honda Odyssey as well. On the lower portion we have red reflectors on each side, along with dual exhaust, which is covered by the rear bumper. One thing that I did want to point out is that this piece and this piece is not paint matched to the car. I found that really odd. This looks almost gray when this is white. It's quite interesting. One thing that Honda finally did implement is a button to open the trunk, which they do neglect in most of their vehicles. Moving inside the trunk, you can actually find that it's quite spacious. Here we have latches which you pull on like so to make the second row seats fold down. In addition to that, we have hooks on each side for hanging things if you would like to, probably grocery bags so they don't open and flare around while you're driving. Down here we also have a compartment which is identical to the one in the Honda Civic, which I reviewed not too long ago. Link in the description, go and watch that as well, please and thank you. I will open that up for the viewers who have not watched it. You have a styrofoam piece which you can see has all the tools you would need in order to change a tire if necessary. We also have a full-sized steel spare over there. One thing on the top of the trunk is the emergency release for when you do a trunk test and get stuck during a review. Moving on to the rear seats of the 2020 Honda Accord, right off the bat, as soon as I stepped into this interior, I felt super comfortable and I felt that I had lots and lots of space. This is a fully leather wrapped interior, which is included with the EXL trim level, and it's definitely a step up over the cloth seats, and it gives the Honda Accord a more executive feel. I have this seat set to my desired driving position. Again, I am 5'11", have about 7 inches of knee room and about 4 to 5 inches of headroom. The headroom is a bit compromised due to the slope roofline to make the design on the exterior a bit more flooring, but still I feel that I have lots of space. I have this center armrest folded down, which is a part of the center seat, and I have a 700 milliliter water bottle here, which fits in like so. And since it is snug, you won't hear any vibrations while driving. I like that this armrest is long so I can rest my arm. A lot of cars do not have a long armrest, so that your wrist and a lot of your forearm falls off continuously, and it gets annoying having to put it back up. The center console on this car finally has climate control vents for the rear seat passengers. A lot of the previous generation Honda Accords, like from the 2011 through 2016 models, did not have this. You had to upgrade to a higher trim level. This is the EXL, which is a mid-range, and it finally does have our climate control vents. On the door you'll find a cubby, which does fit this water bottle relatively well as well. On the side we also have a full natural wood trim, which does have a small chrome piece running from the side. It incorporates really well into this door handle. Here we have lock handles and window switches as well. Overall, I've got to say Honda really stepped up their game while designing the rear seats. Moving on the driver's side of the 2020 Honda Accord EXL, I believe that's definitely a step up for the Honda Accord over the previous generations. All the previous ones felt like they were just a base level of sedan, whereas this one I definitely feel has more of a luxury orientation. This wheel is both tilt and telescopic, which is nice. However, it is not electronic. These seats move forward, backwards, the thigh support goes down and up, and the backrest goes forward and backwards like your armrest should. The headrest is not electronic, you have to manually adjust that one. All the trim levels in the Accord do come standard with Honda Sense, which gives us lots of good and very important safety features like emergency braking and forward collision warning, along with lane departure warning as well. Honda Sense also gives us adaptive cruise control with low speed settings as well. This vehicle also has the hands-free system and a full-on Bluetooth call hands-free link system as well. On the left side of the door you have all your basic window controls, your electronic mirror adjustments. This vehicle also has a Bluetooth audio system which has been upgraded, which I will demonstrate for you later. These seats also have 2 memory settings, which could be upgraded to 3 or 4, but for a mid-range model I believe that's a good number. Moving on to the interior, I wanted to point out a few extra things. One thing that I really like is the fact that this pulses until you put your foot on the brake, then it's a solid white color to show you that it's located over here, and once you start the car and put it in accessory mode, it turns red to show you that the vehicle is now on. Another thing that I really like is this digital gauge with a tactile speedometer. I really like that. It goes to show the analog and technology that this vehicle has. It's a good mix in the place that the driver is going to look quite often. Here we also have the touchscreen 8-inch display system, which I really like because it's super responsive. You can see just how nice and crisp all the actions are with this. If you want to turn your brightness down, you go like this, turn it down or up to your desire. If you want to turn the screen off, you can just press it twice and bam, the screen is off. If you want to keep the screen on but away from any distractions, you simply press the clock button and you're greeted by this nice robot. You can then press source if you want to connect any of your USB ports, which are located in here with a 12-volt outlet and another USB port in here. Keep in mind that this tray is also located in the center armrest. In this cubby you could probably fit a plus size iPhone, and you probably wouldn't go anywhere since this does close like this. We have 2-zone climate control system, which works really well. I like that as soon as you turn it up, it turns red. Once you turn it down, it turns blue. It's really nice. And once it's in between, it turns purple. That's a really nice attention to detail from Honda. These cup holders are relatively large, so if you would like to fit a larger drink in here, you definitely can. Here we have a leather-wrapped gear select system, which is an option, and I believe that it's a good option for about $300 to $400. Again, it makes the vehicle feel a lot more upscale, which does really fit the spec of this vehicle, the black leather, dark brown wood trim. Overall, I really like how Honda has stepped up their game in order to make their vehicles feel a lot more luxurious. This vehicle also has a relatively nice sunroof. You can open it with this button right here. Opens relatively quickly as well. It is raining, so I will close it like that. Very nice. Now this Accord has a really nice feature, and that's regarding this key. One thing is that I actually really like the way it looks. This is the second driver key, as you can see over here. Now one thing is that if you want to open the windows on a hot day, you walk into your car after the mall is parked in direct sunlight, you can press the unlock button once, and press it twice and hold, and all your windows will come down. Now a quirk about this is that if you want to put them back up, you can't just press the lock button. You actually have to take out the physical key from underneath the fob, put it into the driver key insert, and then push it once to lock, and then hold it again. There you go, all the windows are coming up. Quite a nice feature. Another nice feature about the key is that you can remote start this vehicle. All you have to do is tap the lock button twice, and then hold the remote start button. Like magic. Here we are driving the 2020 Honda Accord EX. Now you will see some downhill action with the 2020 Honda Accord. There is a bit too much wind noise for my preference, but based off other cars I've sat in, it's really not that bad. Wind, tire, and road noise combined, it's not too bad. Engine noise really isn't any noticeable until you step on it. Ride quality on the Honda Civic is actually really good. It's stiffer than the Honda Civic, but it's nothing over sporty like you'd find in a Type R. That's obvious. Overall ride quality, in my opinion, is really good. Coming up is a left turn where you can catch a glimpse on the off-the-line performance of the Accord. There is some wheel spin, nothing too major though. As you've probably already noticed by now, the windshield wipers do make a really weird and annoying sound when they hit the top of the windshield. It's a bit annoying, but you can get used to it if you don't have OCD. The cabin noise really isn't too bad in the Honda Accord. Keep in mind that this is a brand new vehicle, so there really shouldn't be just about 200 miles on it. Base price on the EX trim is $25,255, but this vehicle has been optioned out to just around $32,500. In my opinion, that's pretty much a bargain for what you're getting. You're getting a reliable vehicle that looks good and performs really well as well. Overall, I think this Honda Accord beats all of its competitors. I also wanted to take the time to compare the Honda Accord with its main competitors. Right off the bat, we're going to compare it to the Toyota Camry. The Toyota Camry does offer all-wheel drive in all of its platforms, but in terms of safety features, you only get brake assist. The Toyota Camry, however, does have more power in its base trim. Next is the Nissan Altima. It doesn't even compare to the Honda Accord really. It's not as luxurious, it looks a lot worse, and there's not much safety or tech. The next one is the Kia Optima. It looks significantly older, but it does have a lower base price if that's what you're going for. Next, the Ford Fusion is not as reliable and doesn't have much base features. The Hyundai Sonata does look better, but it does have less power right off the gate. The Subaru Legacy looks outdated, hasn't been refreshed since 2012, but it does offer all-wheel drive in all of its platforms. The Volkswagen Passat, to finalize this comparison, has too many reliability issues, and since it is German, you're going to have lots of expensive maintenance and oil changes, along with other things that you might have to go through your ownership experience. In the end, I really like the Honda Accord. I say this because in my opinion, it looks a lot better than its competitors. It may not perform better than one or two, but in my opinion, you don't need straight line performance when you're daily driving on the street. In the end, the Honda Accord has really lived up to its name in this 2020 model year. Good job to Honda.